Hey, welcome back to the About the Labor podcast here at VikingsTerritory.com. I am BJ Reidell, back here with my guy, Drew Mahowald. And today we're doing our usual here preview of the Cleveland Browns primarily. We'll also do an injury history, an injury report, a matchup history, and we'll do our normal Friday Frenzy action and finish up with our picks for the week and some Twitter takes. So that's the agenda for today. So let's jump right into it here quickly with a note from our sponsor as always here, Shamrock's Irish Pub. Make sure to check them out. Absolutely fantastic burgers in middle of downtown St. Paul. I was just there tonight, actually, and they shuttled to the Wild games and the Minnesota Vikings game, which is fantastic for you guys that like to get your drink on before the games. Great food, great service. Everything there is absolutely phenomenal, so make sure to check out Shamrock's Irish Pub in downtown St. Paul. All right, moving on here. Let's talk about the injury report first. The Vikings seems to be getting a little bit healthier here. For one, Stephon Diggs, it sounds like he is actually going to play this week, which I think is going to be, that's critical. Not necessarily on the injury report, but not active, obviously, will be Andrew Sendejo because of the suspension. So anytime you can get a guy like Stephon Diggs back on the field when you're losing another starter, that's a big thing for the Vikings. I don't care who you play. I know this is the Cleveland Browns. I know a lot of people expect the Vikings to go in there and trounce them. It really doesn't matter if we have our varsity team out there or not. But I do think that, it's important to get guys like Stephon Diggs back on the field, shake some of the rust off from the injury and get him ready for, let's say, a more competitive matchup, to be fair here. But who else is on the injury report here, Drew? Anyone else key that the Vikings will be missing?
Actually, the Vikings are going to be pretty healthy this week. I think Mike Zimmer alluded to that yesterday in his presser. He's said, I think we have a chance to be pretty healthy this week, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but you're looking at the Thursday injury report as far as players that didn't practice, only 3 of them. Sam Bradford, who apparently he traveled to London. Nobody's really seen him, so maybe he didn't, and maybe they're just making it up. Jeremiah Searles did not practice, and Stephen Weatherly did not practice. 2 guys that relatively not a huge loss, right? So
if you're getting Nick Easton back, that is.
Right, and and speaking of Nick Easton, he's been limited both days this week in practice. Assuming he practices Friday, I would expect him to be ready to go. Same with Stephon Diggs, he was limited Wednesday and full practice participant on Thursday. Mackenzie Alexander did not play last week. He should be able to go. He also practiced in full Thursday. Riley Reif left the game against Baltimore, I think, and did not practice Wednesday, but he was a full participant Thursday. And then Case Keenum, there were some concerns about his chest on Wednesday, and there was some hoopla on Twitter about Teddy Bridgewater getting a start, but I wouldn't expect that to happen. Case Keenum was a full participant Thursday. He'll be the starting quarterback, and in all likelihood, Teddy Bridgewater won't even dress. So I'll end that right there. But that's about the end of the injury report. It seems like the Vikings are going to be pretty healthy this week, besides their starting quarterback, and obviously, if you still count Devin Cook. But Case Keenum will start. Everybody else seems to be pretty healthy. That's good news for the Vikings.
Absolutely. Anytime you can get a variety of players back from injury, sounds like Nick Easton's going to be back. That's a good thing. Obviously, I would like to see more of Danny Isidora, but anytime you can get your expected starter back on the field, that's big. Stephon Diggs is really the big name here. Obviously, getting him back in Case Keenum's arsenal. Him being out last week could potentially have been part of the issue for Case Keenum being out of rhythm. They have such good chemistry together. Keenum and Diggs have played very well this season. For whatever, I don't know how they built chemistry this offseason, being that he was with the 1s and Keenum was with the 3s, but however he did it, this is it seems like that's a good bond and a good quarterback-wide receiver relationship. So it's good to get Stephon Diggs back. Makes the potential for this game being a laugher that much greater, I think. So from there, let's talk a little bit about this matchup history. Obviously, this Cleveland Browns team is the former Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Colts, right? So anytime, the matchup history is not too long with this specific team. Obviously, we go all the way back to the first Browns team with Jim Brown and all that, and there's plenty of matchups there. But what I want to talk about here is the recent history against the Browns, specifically that 2013 matchup. I was still in college at this point, and this game was, I thought this Vikings, because the Vikings, I expected them to be a much better team in 2013. I expected them to be a lot better than they ended up being, put it simply. And so I was talking to this girl at college, and she was a huge Cleveland Browns fan and was like, all right, let's bet a case on the game. And I was like, yeah, you're going to offer me that? Like, do you just want to lose this case? And I was like, this is money in the bank. My Friday night is definitely set now. I'm good to go. And AJ Jefferson decides that he is, I don't know, going to be completely incompetent for the whole game. We see Brian Hoyer absolutely turn up, be kind of create this image of himself that I think has really carried on throughout his career, and has kind of made him a quarterback that other teams have desired because of really that game, the two previous games that he had in 2013 before he tore the ACL, obviously, and then Josh Gordon as well. It was Josh Gordon that absolutely torched AJ Jefferson. It's one of my favorite plays of all time, despite the fact that it was against the Vikings. Absolutely shattered A.J. Jefferson's knees and was probably 10 yards away from him. 10 yards of separation down the left sideline. I mean, it was ridiculous. And that was the Josh Gordon breakout game. That was finally the game that he, became Josh Gordon and became the player that a lot of people really want to see back on the field. So I'm not. This is a revenge game for me. I know that the Browns are supposed to be we're supposed to cakewalk these guys, but for me, I want them dead. Let's absolutely throttle them. I ended up having to buy a case for someone else and myself that week. So I was not happy with the Vikings, and I absolutely want to see the Vikings make good on that most recent matchup.
Was this Norv Turner coaching, or was he the Cleveland offensive coordinator, or was it Pat Shermer? One of them was.
Yeah, he was the offensive coordinator.
Okay. Anyway, that's kind of a connection anyway. But this was Christian Ponder's one of his finest fantasy football performances ever, with 2 rushing touchdowns. So you could take that for what it's worth. But this game was. Looking at the there's the win probability model on Pro Football Reference here, and this is kind of a microcosm of 2013 as a whole, where this model shows the Vikings kind of going up and up and up and up as the fourth quarter, and then a steep drop at the end of the fourth quarter, and the Browns winning the game, because that's how things worked in 2013. I think the Vikings had something like 10 or 11 wins if games were 59 minutes long. So they weren't that bad in 2013. They just could not play defense in the final minute of the game, and it resulted in giving up a lot of game-winning scores, whether by field goal or touchdown. But it should be a different story this Sunday, because the Browns are different. The Vikings are very different. It should be different.
Yeah, this game is definitely expected to be different, and in my opinion, it definitively will be different. I don't have a crystal ball. I've been guilty of making assertions in the past that have blown up in my face, but I can very confidently look at this Browns roster, which we should probably begin talking about now here, and say that the Vikings are going to destroy this team, at least on the defensive side of the football. This offense, let's start with them. This is an abysmal offense, to really be fair. I'm not trying to bash the Browns here, but I'm simply put, this is a very terrible offense. Deshaun Kaiser, the quarterback, obviously he has already been pulled from, I believe, 1 or 2 games this season for his performance. Very erratic player. He's a guy that back during draft season, both of us liked quite a bit. He's got the physical frame to play. Big arm, tons of mobility. So specifically with Kaiser, he's got basically all the tangible assets that you like to see in a quarterback. He's big, strong, mobile, throws a good ball. All those things are great.
I thought of him as he's in the Ben Roethlisberger template. Obviously, I'm not trying to make that comparison, but that's kind of the playing style he has, is like the big physical frame, huge arm, mobility, that type of thing.
Yeah, he's a quarterback that, and we also said this too, back in April, that he's probably a year or 2 away from being the quarterback that he might prove to be. Obviously, the Browns.
Which is why Cleveland's probably a bad spot.
Yeah, obviously the Browns are a team that have been killing quarterbacks for years. You guys have all seen the jersey with the list of quarterbacks down the back. And Kaiser might end up being, the next guy on this list because I don't think he was ready. I think this is a player that has a ton of ability, a ton of potential, but for whatever reason, Hugh Jackson is really not doing a good job coaching him up. And then also, I don't believe in this whole pull your starter thing. I think it just absolutely kills the rookie psyche. I feel for Kaiser a little bit, but he has been absolutely awful this season, and a lot of that is because of the intangible traits. Very impulsive, some really bad reads this season as well. There are some balls that he has thrown where it has been a lack of accuracy, but basically he's tangibly strong and intangibly weak at this point in his career, which probably bodes well for the Vikings given how instinctual that, at least the left side of the field is going to be with Harrison Smith and Xavier Rhodes. And Trey Waynes honestly plays pretty well instinctively as well. So this is a quarterback that is susceptible to throwing interceptions, and he's been doing it with regularity. And the Vikings defense are probably, that's a very dangerous situation for a quarterback like Kaiser.
Yeah, and Kaiser to some degree has had an excuse, I guess, for the left. The left tackle has been solidified. Joe Thomas, one of the best left tackles of all time, has been rock solid at that position. I don't think he allowed a sack this year, if I remember correctly, before his injury.
Right.
And now he's out. You bring in, who is it, Spencer Drango or somebody I think that's his name.
Former Baylor
Spencer
guard.
Drango.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that is going to be a huge drop off anyway. But when that first game afterwards is against Everson Griffin, a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, a sack in every game this year, and now you get a rookie quarterback who is losing an all-pro lineman for a guy who's pretty inexperienced at the position, that in itself should be a terrorizing matchup for Kaiser. And the fact that he doesn't have much for weapons is out. He's got Duke Johnson's a pretty good player at running back, but then you have his receivers are Kenny Britt, Rashard Higgins. Who else is there on the outside? They got Ricardo Lewis. There's I want to compare it to the core Baltimore brought out last week after Michael Wallace when they had Chris Moore, Michael Campanaro, and Griff Whalen, I think it was. Yeah. But this is pretty close to that level. And then at tight end they have David Njoku, who is a pretty good weapon, but he's a rookie and he's still learning how to play. So this Cleveland offense is it's Cleveland-esque, and the Vikings defense is one of the tops in the league. I would be stunned if the Browns put up 2 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah, you think about the guys that are also missing from this game as well. Corey Coleman, the second-year receiver out of Baylor, first-round pick last year. He's on injured reserve right now. And then obviously Josh Gordon, who I mentioned previously, still suspended. I am hopeful for him that he ends up finding a way back into the NFL because I think that he's such a special player that, he could change this offense with a guy like Kaiser. It would be awesome to see Josh Gordon get back on the field with him, but at this point in his career with all the off-the-field stuff, we may never get to see that guy play again. But I am hopeful for that. I'm glad it's not this week, let's put it that way. This offense is they haven't moved the ball well. They've turned the ball over, far, far, far too much to win any football game. I don't care who you are. And like I said on the last show here, in my opinion, I'm going to remember who the player is this time. Isaiah Crowell is basically the only player on this offense. Duke Johnson has had his flash moments that has really had consistent success for the Browns. And that's basically a product of the offensive line, in my opinion, because I don't consider Crowell to be, this dominant running back. He has been very solid. He makes good reads at the line of scrimmage, but he doesn't beat you with superior athleticism or crazy instincts or anything like that. He's been doing a good enough job finding holes behind a very, very solid offensive line, particularly when Joe Thomas has been in there. As Drew mentioned, Joe Thomas is no longer there.
Well, he has been in there literally since he, began his NFL career until his injury last week.
Right. I'm just saying, with Thomas out, this offensive line is still pretty solid, especially in the interior. I don't love Sean Coleman, the right tackle for them, but the 3 guys in the middle there, J.C. Treader, the center, Kevin Zeitler, the right guard, and then Joel Bitonio, the left guard, Those are three players that I actually like quite a bit. I would rank them in, Bitonio being the best of the three, Kevin Zeitler being a very close second, and Treader being a very solid center. Not a guy I don't love J.C. Treader, but he gets the job done. So they got 3 out of 5 pieces there. So this is going to be a team that, if they're going to do anything well, they're going to run the football well. And that's obviously something the Vikings have been suffocating in, to put it simply. The Vikings' run defense this year has been absolutely outstanding. So the one thing the Browns offense can do, the Vikings defense probably does better. I don't think that's even probably, probably definitively.
Oh yeah.
I see this as a very big mismatch from an offensive defensive point of view. The Vikings have been extremely strong in all phases of their defense, and I don't see any guy on this Browns offensive roster, with the exception of DeShone Kizer, all of a sudden becoming a guy like Ben Roethlisberger overnight, which
doesn't happen.
You're crazy to project that type of thing. I don't see any way that this Browns offense, like you said, scores more than 1 touchdown against the Vikings defense.
Yeah, this Vikings defense, I believe, is 30. Well, is third, I guess, if you flip it around, third in allowing the fewest yards per carry, 3.2, I believe. Which for reference, or for Cleveland is the number 1 team in yards per carry allowed at 3, which we'll get to that shortly here. But point is, the Browns they have assembled some type of running back committee with Crowell and Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson's kind of more of their pass catching type, but from what I've seen from this defense over the past few games, they've been able to neutralize running back threats with some ease. Chicago with Tariq Cohen and Jordan Howard, they didn't do a whole lot. Ty Montgomery and Aaron Jones were relatively shut out against Green Bay. Amir Abdullah had some success against Detroit, but Theo Riddick was non-existent in that game. The Vikings have taken away their best backfield weapon, or best 2 backfield weapons, every single week. And I can't imagine a Cleveland offense that, the way this team looks right now, I can't imagine this Cleveland offense changing that.
Absolutely. There isn't a whole lot more to say about this Cleveland offense, honestly. I will say that I liked Rashard Higgins coming out. This is his second year now out of Colorado State. I thought that he was a very solid receiver. I believe I had him just outside my top 10. I had him as like a 4th-round player, a player that could become a starter. Obviously, he has became a starter, so honestly, I'm pretty happy with the assessment that I had of him 2 years ago, and I think he can honestly still be better. So that's one weapon. Sammy Coates is a player that runs a 9 very well. If you guys remember during the Hall of Fame game a couple years ago when Sammy Coates was with the Steelers, he made Trey Waynes look absolutely foolish. So that's a player that has some potential, formerly out of Auburn, obviously. So they have a couple of good young pieces in Higgins and Coates. I think Kenny Britt's awful. I'll just be real straight with you guys. Brutally honest, I think he's an awful receiver. I don't think he's a great teammate either, from all the reports and stuff that I've read about him. So, he drops passes far too often. I don't see him as a particularly great route runner. I look at Higgins and Coates being really the playmakers here. Kaysen Williams, that's a receiver that they picked off the waiver wire from Seattle. If you remember, he's the guy that had that absurd catch against Xavier Rhodes during the preseason. I believe it was preseason week 2 down the field. He had like a ridiculous catch. So he's in there as well, but he's their wide receiver 6. So there's not a whole lot to worry about with him. But honestly, that's the best assessment I could give in terms of like best meaning saying nice things. There's some potential there, but with exception to the 3 offensive linemen, I just don't see this offense being able to do a whole lot, and that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah, I don't know how many other ways we can say it at this point. The Vikings defense. I saw it, ESPN NFL Twitter today. They released a bunch of polls for their midseason awards, and they for Defensive Player of the Year, they had both Everson Griffin and Xavier Rhodes as 2 of the 4 choices.
Yep.
I believe that was Calais Campbell and Jalen Ramsey. But you can make a case for Harrison Smith and Linval Joseph in those two. Linval won't get it just because of the way the position he plays never gets the glory that it should. But the point is, the Vikings have so many playmakers, and it's got to be the best defensive roster in the NFL. And to go against this Browns offense, which has been just putrid, and I got to remember exactly how many interceptions this group of quarterbacks has thrown, but it's embarrassing. Let's see. Oh gosh. Okay, passing. Here we go. Deshaun Kaiser, 3 touchdown passes, 11 interceptions. Kevin Hogan, 4 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. Cody Kessler, 0 touchdown passes, 1 interception. And for the team, 7 touchdown passes, 17 interceptions in 7 games. And their passer rating as a team is 54.6. So that does not scream scary to this defense.
So to add a little bit of context to that too, the Vikings defense has a 9-8 spread this season. They have allowed 9 touchdowns and had 8 interceptions. So good luck, Cleveland's offense.
How many of those touchdowns, by the way, are in garbage time?
A lot.
I'd like to. New Orleans had one. Tampa Bay had one.
Baltimore, obviously.
Baltimore just had one. Yeah, at least 3 right there off the bat. So
yeah, this offense is just. It's not great. Let's put it that way. And let's move on to the defense, because the defense does have some pieces. I will say that Cleveland's defense is solid. They're kind of
a lot of them though, healthy or not healthy, I guess.
Right. But this is a solid unit that you can build on if you're Hugh Jackson,
sure.
Assuming he stays around for past this season.
That's a pretty questionable assumption to make. I think
right. It really is. Myles Garrett, obviously the first overall pick, he won't be playing in London. He did not fly out there, so that's you couldn't get better news, honestly, because that guy is a wrecking ball going up against a guy like Riley Reif, who is just coming off of an injury, trying to make his way back, 1 week after. I would rather not have not 100% Riley Reif going up against that beast. Back in April, I remember Drew and I barely even talked about Myles Garrett because there wasn't a whole lot to say. He was just so damn good.
Best player in the draft by miles.
It was I've been doing this draft stuff. I've had a big board for 4 years now. I've done at least 200 prospects over the last 3 years, and I have never seen a guy who was unanimously considered to be the number 1 option by national guys, draft Twitter, everyone. Nobody even debated that there was a different number 1 overall player in this most recent class. So Myles Garrett, thank you for not coming to London, because as much as it would be fun to watch him play, I'm not interested in seeing that right now. I'd rather see that against a different team, because he's been every bit as dominant in the NFL so far as he was at Texas A&M. So no Myles Garrett. That means that we will see Carl Nassib, though. I believe he's from Auburn. Solid player as well. I don't hate him. I think that he's a good player. I think that Emmanuel Ogbah on the other side with Nate Orchard, another player that I liked a couple years back. They've got a ton of very young pieces. Danny Shelton, the nose tackle, is one of the biggest humans I've ever seen in my entire life. Just in pure girth, this guy is a beast. I really liked him coming out. Honestly, I thought that he would be a good pick for the Vikings at that point, because the Vikings were looking for defensive tackle help. And he's a beast. So I like Danny Shelton quite a bit. Honestly, this defensive line and this defensive line rotation has a lot of very young pieces that could become really good players. You also look at Larry Ogunjobi, one of Jordan Reed's favorite, under-the-radar players. Caleb Brantley, another guy as well that has had some character issues and some other different things sort of messing with his draft stock. But there's a ton of very good young players on this defensive line. Yeah,
I mean, that this defensive line and this front seven too is part of the reason why the Browns are actually really, really dominant against the run this year. So that will be a challenge for the Murray McKinnon duo to get going in this Sunday, because this, we don't want to I don't want to avoid this too much, but this does have the possibility of being a trap game, and if your offense doesn't get going early, this could turn into an ugly game in which very few points are scored. And in that instance, I mean, it's anybody's game. I don't care what teams are playing. In that type of ball game, it's anybody can win on just one big play. So the Vikings will really have to make sure they get the ground game going, and it won't be easy against this front seven. But I will say that they are missing, it's not just Myles Garrett who has health issues. Jamie Collins is having has a shoulder injury and might not play. He's questionable, I believe, or will be listed questionable. He's been iffy at practice. Same with Larry Ogunjobi, and they have Jabril Peppers too. Does not look like he won't be at full strength. His toe injury has him questionable, and then in the secondary too, if I want to get there. But Jason McCourty does not appear to be ready to play this Sunday with an ankle injury, and he's been phenomenal this season in coverage. So the Cleveland's very decimated, and I'm not just talking about their play. I'm talking about their injuries as well. They're a very decimated football team right now, they're. This is. I laugh because last week I thought of the Baltimore game as sure of a win as I've thought of in a long time.
Yeah. And
then I followed up. I guess the Vikings followed up with Cleveland, the worst team I've seen in the NFL in several years.
Yeah.
And I think the Detroit Lions 2008 are worried at this point, or maybe they're happy. I don't know how they would. I don't know how psychologically if they're proud of that or if they're not. But Cleveland is knocking on the door of 0-16.
Yeah. We talk every week, pretty much every show, honestly, about how the Vikings need to get to 21 points to win the game. For this one, they probably need to get to like 13. I'm not trying to be ridiculous. I said this last week too with Baltimore. Like, I'm not trying to be, sound like a dick here, but objectively speaking, this roster is inferior to the Vikings. I don't see any way that if the Vikings get to 14 points that the Browns still win this football game, unless they kick 1,000,000 field goals. If they kick like 6 field goals, then I guess there's a possible way for the Vikings to lose if they score 13 or 14 points. But their defense is their strength. This is a solid defense, as we've been saying, that has a lot of great building blocks. And probably, if I'm a Browns fan, I look at this defense and they give me hope for the future. The combination of this defense and the idea that Deshaun Kaiser might be able to become something better than he is right now. Let's just keep in mind here that guys like Jared Goff last season, dreadful. Carson Wentz after Lane Johnson went out, dreadful. The rookie, it's not a one-year thing for quarterbacks, which, to get back to my point earlier, I think it's so absurd for
it's so dumb to keep pulling out quarterbacks, replacing them, and then naming a different guy a starter, and then putting Kaiser back in as a backup, and then change. I mean, it messes so much with Kaiser's psyche.
Yeah.
And then, is he a starter? Is he not? Is he the franchise quarterback? And if he's not a franchise quarterback, then it's okay not to start him. But if you draft a guy that high to be your franchise quarterback, so you play him, and you don't play a Kevin Hogan or a Cody Kessler over him, that just makes no sense to. I don't know.
I know that last week it was somewhat of a punishment situation because he went out partying on a Friday night and wasn't until 1 a.m. or something like that, which in my mind, obviously I'm not an NFL player and he knows the rules, but in my mind, partying till 1 a.m. on a Friday night is not that's not that great of an offense.
You think Johnny Manziel and his past has anything to do with the Browns maybe overreacting to this?
I'd say that's an absolute guarantee, definitive certainty.
Okay.
So let me just say this. I understand Hugh Jackson's decision for that, but to pull him mid-game when he's not playing well and pretend like Kevin Hogan has the potential to be your franchise guy, I mean...
Especially now when it's virtually, you're 0-7. Like,
you're out.
It does not matter if you win anymore. So get your guy that's, this is about your 15th time trying now to find a franchise quarterback. At least do this one right,
Yeah, absolutely.
Play him. Get him experience.
Because this... if he does play well, and when I say by well, I mean like what Case Keenum's been doing. Well, like not great, not franchise adequate, just well, like not turning over the football, maybe 225 yards, giving your running game space to work. This defense has a lot of talent when they're fully healthy and can probably win you some ball games. Honestly. You mentioned Jamie Collins before at the second level. We went over the first level already. There's a lot of athletes there. The second level, in my opinion, is probably an area that they'd like to address in the draft, especially if they can't hang on to Jamie Collins. Or if they trade him, for example, I should say. But Collins is a hell of a player. Obviously, you should remember him from the New England days. I still don't really understand what New England was doing getting rid of him, but I think the rule has kind of became that if Bill Belichick says it's a good idea, it's a good idea.
By the way, it is pretty remarkable how with one coach, like it's just him, where if he makes any move, it seems like everybody's, oh yeah, that was a brilliant move by Bill Belichick.
Right.
Brilliant move by the Patriots.
I still question this one. This one I definitely question because Jamie Collins is a guy that I love. I really think this is a hell of a football player. And I think that the Browns are doing some really good things in terms of creating a solid defense. They've got a building block player at every level for sure. With Myles Garrett and Danny Shelton, that's very good. 2/4 of your defensive line are absolutely outstanding. Then you got Jamie Collins, who's a leader and an athletic tackler, a guy that ranges sideline to sideline, great instincts. My God, this guy is he's a hell of a football player. If there is one reason to watch Browns film, it's Myles Garrett and Jamie Collins because they make the game look beautiful. And then you look at the final level, their secondary, and they have other building blocks there, as well as a very established player in Jason McCourty, who is, as Drew said, has been very good in coverage this year. You look at Jabril Peppers, who is kind of a money backer. We talked about, back in April, one of the biggest tweeners you will ever see, being that he is a running back, a linebacker, and a safety. Plays primarily the safety position, but he will come up in the box and do his thing there. I've seen him get absolutely blown up a couple times this year because of his size, so that's something that the Vikings receivers, particularly Laquan Treadwell and Michael Floyd, who block very, very well, can definitely take advantage of a guy like Jabril Peppers in a similar way to how Larry Fitzgerald took advantage of Anthony Harris a couple of years ago. But my point still being here is that they have a lot of playmakers at every level. The matter for the Vikings this week is whether or not all of them are going to be healthy, and the answer to that is, simply put, is no. But they do have some building blocks. This is a very solid defense that could cause some problems. But again, the offense is just so bad with the turnovers. If the offense just didn't do anything and never turned the football over, this could be, they wouldn't have an 0-7 record because this defense has been so good.
Yeah, and it's just, now too, with the injuries they have, especially in the secondary, and the Vikings possibly getting Diggs back, getting Riley Reif back, getting Nick Easton possibly back. I can't imagine, the Vikings should take advantage of this defense, at least in the passing game. The cornerbacks after McCourty, you have Jamar Taylor, you have Brian Body Calhoun, you have Mike Jordan. A bunch of, not really big names at all. Derek Kindred at safety. Ibrahim Campbell is a person at safety. These are guys that should, in comparison to what Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen can do and have shown they can do, the Vikings passing game, as long as Case Keenum can show adequate, I'm going to keep using that word, adequate accuracy, the Vikings offense should be able to exceed that 20-point threshold against this secondary. Again, the rush defense is still something to be reckoned with, but this passing game against the Cleveland Browns secondary should fare really well, and I think that 20-point threshold should be easily achievable, and I think that will be enough to win by at least 10 points. The
one guy in the secondary other than McCourty that I will go to bat for is Kindred. I think Kindred's a good player. I've watched him on film a couple times this week. Like what he's doing. I like his instincts at the safety position. I think that he's
a good in the box safety.
I think there's good room. There's room for him to grow as a player. Again, this defense is they're pretty similar to what Jacksonville was 2 years ago, where they've got a ton of youth and a ton of talented players, and a pretty complete roster and a pretty complete defensive roster in terms of it being a ton of a lot of talented players and very, very few. Let's call them anchors, I guess, on this defense. But a lot of they haven't gelled yet, and I just think that they need more time. So I expect like Drew said, I expect the Vikings to be able to air it out quite a bit. But if Kindred does get an interception of Keenum this week, let's just put it this way, I won't be shocked. He's got good instinct. He's been a good player in that regard, and he keeps quarterbacks honest. He's that type of safety, in my opinion. Not a guy that you have to game plan around, but he'll definitely keep you honest. If you throw into his coverage, you're looking for trouble to some degree. So keep an eye on that guy. But for the most part, this defense is built on those pass rushers that are not going to be there. Danny Shelton is probably the most important player. On him or Jamie Collins are probably the most important players in this defense for this weekend. So let's get into our Friday frenzy here.
Perfect.
I want to talk about injuries this week, and which I think the Cleveland Browns are a perfect example of this. Honestly, there have been too many star players going down with injury. I don't know what has changed in the NFL since it was complete savagery back in the 50s, 60s, all that, to now. Like, why are so many more players getting hurt? I feel like there are borderline career-threatening injuries every single week. I have a couple running theories on this. One being that the athletes now are just so much more ridiculous. You got a bunch of Lawrence Taylors running around out there now that when small, if you're not a Lawrence Taylor type and you get plowed by that type of player, you're that much more likely to get hurt. But I don't think players are, inherently less healthy nowadays. I don't think players are inherently more susceptible to injury nowadays. I'm just wondering, with all these rule changes, maybe the rule changes are affecting, the injury,
affecting the safety of the game in a negative way.
In a negative way, yeah. I think it's so weird. Think about this. I watch a ton of film, but for myself, I haven't seen this in a long time. For you guys listening, think about this. When was the last football game you watched when both teams left the game as healthy as they were? I gave you a second to pause there. Obviously, you probably needed a little bit more time to think than just that. But I doubt that you came up with any game. It seems like someone goes out with an injury every single week, and it's killing the product on the field. Obviously, teams like the Cleveland Browns. I mean, you need Myles Garrett to sell tickets. They're lucky they're in London this week. It kills revenue. All of these different things. I mean, there has to be an answer here somewhere. I'm not trying to act like I'm a scientist or anything like that, but there's no reason that there should be this many more injuries per game now than back in the day when they were literally killing each other. It was gladiators out there back in the day, and we did not see as many injuries as we do now. I mean, I guess I wasn't there to say that, but I feel like I can, that point is verifiable.
Yeah, I agree with at least I agree with the concern about the injuries and this. It's weird, there's so many safety precautions been taken in the last few years, and now you see how many big names go down with season-ending injuries. But my Friday, whoa, what was that? My Friday frenzy is actually going to be about the Vikings some more, but it does kind of relate to the entire league. Mark Sessler, he is a NFL Network media person, and he put together a kind of mid-season, or before the trade deadline, what each team should do or what each team should accomplish or try to accomplish, at the trade deadline. He went through every team, and the one team that he said should not do anything was the Minnesota Vikings.
I saw this.
He says basically that every team has strengths and weaknesses, but the Vikings are the most balanced and well-rounded roster, and with more depth than any roster in the league. And the compensation that they have for not doing anything is potentially a Lombardi Trophy. So Mark Sessler is in on the Vikings, and I have to say I think I agree with him.
I was just going to say to you, Drew, we're listening to you read that blurb right now. Can you really disagree with what he's saying? In terms of being the most balanced roster in the NFL. We're not saying the best roster. Keep that in mind.
With the improvement of the offensive line,
yes,
that's kind of what has lifted it to that status.
Right, and
but last year that was the concern. That was the concern. You had a running game that was stagnant because of the offensive line. You had a passing game that was stagnant because of the offensive line. Now you see an offensive line with Riley Reef, Mike Remmers playing really, really well, and you see Pat Elflein holding his own as a rookie, And now all of a sudden you see a passing offense and rushing offense. Both top 15 in the league, and this defense is still phenomenal. So I don't know. I mean, depth wise, it's all there. On offense, you have a third string quarterback essentially that's leading a team to 5-2 and playing adequate football and not turning the ball over very much. You have a running game with McMurray and McKinnon, who are your second and third running backs that are actually doing better than the running game was before Dalvin Cook went out. There's so much going for this team, and I think Mark Sessler makes a good point. And I think this roster, as a whole, as well-rounded as it, in a well-rounded sense, this roster is the best in the league.
Yeah, and that's I like the word that he used too, balance. Balance is important because he's not saying this is the best roster in the NFL. I don't think this roster has the most Pro Bowl players, for example. I think there are other teams like Seattle, for example. Depth, talented players all over the place.
That's part of it too. Is every single team, and you just mentioned injuries. Every single team is dealing with injuries, and it's a part of the season. Obviously, this year is a bit of an extreme extent to that, but every team will deal with injuries, and the team that deals with them best is usually going to run deep into the playoffs or play into January quite a bit. Right? The Vikings have dealt with injuries very, very well, considering everything that has gone wrong in that department. And so the way that the Vikings are still 5-2, and sure they've played 3 relatively easy opponents in a row, sure, but they're leading the division. They are second in the conference, and given their injury history and where they're at health wise right now, they're getting guys back this week. They're going to get a quarterback. I'm assuming they're going to get a quarterback to return, whether it's Bradford or Bridgewater after the bye week. Things are only going to get better for this team. And so I think I agree with Mark Sessler when he says that this roster is the most balanced and well-rounded roster in the NFL.
Yeah, if it's not, it's definitely right up there with a couple other teams. This is, I don't think that this is hyperbole. I think that Sessler makes a good point, and it's nice to hear that from a national media member. I did see today, I think probably some of you guys also saw this, that the SB Nation Saints account wrote an article on trading for Anthony Barr, which is funny to me because 2 weeks ago I had a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan asking me if he was going to be active. Like, it's just like, I don't know, man. Anthony Barr's playing a great game, but I know it was probably a clickbaity article because I do like the reasoning. If they get Anthony Barr, Saints could be a much better team, but.
Who would they give up hypothetically, or what would have to give up to get Anthony Barr?
Everything. A lot. I don't know.
2 consecutive Pro Bowls, having his best career season right now in the prime of his career.
He's about to enter his second contract, which is really the only knock on him is that he might be, he's entering free agency. But I can't blame the dude for writing the article, but not for sale. Put it simply, he's not going anywhere. And honestly, based off the conversation that I had with him when I did his charity event this summer, I don't think he's ever going anywhere. So it's great to see Anthony Barr playing well. That's beside the point, though. Let's get into the Twitter takes for this week. I want to start with the one that we got from our guy, Seth Tupel, earlier this week on the quarterback position for the Cleveland Browns. We only talked about Deshaun Kaiser earlier, and I liked that we did that because I wanted to talk about them as a whole. Now, his joking question was what's the likelihood that we see Kaiser, Hogan, and Kessler this weekend?
Well, I hope we see one quarterback because I really don't want to see Hugh Jackson do the turnstile at quarterback. And stick with Deshaun Kaiser if he's healthy. I don't care if it's 50-0. Stick with Deshaun Kaiser at quarterback. It's only going to make him better to play the best quarterback. But you're
not answering the question.
On the other hand, his tendency to do this in the past is alarming. And I think the over-under probably should be, 2? I think it should be at 2 where you can bet even or you can bet over-under there. So
okay. So give me the over-under. Or do you think that he'll stick with Kaiser or do you think that he'll go 2 or do you think that
he'll stick with Kaiser? And that's basically me being, emotionally attached to the situation, trying to tell him to stick with one guy, but I'll stick with one quarterback.
I think it's going to be 2. I think it's going to be 2 for sure. The question itself, though, is what is the likelihood that we see all 3? I would say that the odds are not good enough to believe that it's going to happen, but they're good enough to bet, if that makes sense. Like the odds are the pay
like one and what? Like what are the odds?
Like 50-1, where it could happen, and the odds are so damn good based off of what we've seen in the past that you might just want to throw $5 on it. That's how probable of a situation I think this is. So fair. I think we'll see Kaiser, and I think we'll see Kessler. I don't think Hogan gets into the game.
Okay, here's another take on Twitter from his name on Twitter, or this person's name is Mr. Amazing. So we have one heck of a follower tweeting us right now. But the at is at I keep it _ so real. So this is probably the greatest person on the earth. But this tweet says, put this into perspective. The Ravens won 40-0 tonight. The same team that the Vikings completely shut down last week. So and the Dolphins were 4-2, and going into tonight they were 13-4 in their last 17 regular season games dating back to last year. So is this like an anomaly? Should we think about this in the way that this tweet is putting it, or is it just kind of a week-to-week thing and a Thursday night anomaly type thing?
I will say that this guy definitely keeps it real, because that is real. What he just said is it's definitely accurate. I'm not going to put too much stock into that, just because I don't think the Dolphins are all that good either. I know what you just rattled off. I know they're 13-4 over the last whatever amount of time that was, but the Dolphins have been playing bad football for the most part, and Matt Moore, I guess, is their backup quarterback. The Ravens defense isn't bad either, and basically it wasn't the offense that ran up 40 points either. There was a couple, I think there was one, maybe two pick sixes in that game. I didn't actually watch it because it was such an awful game, but it's in perspective for me, man. But I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock in that, just because I do think the Ravens, they're such a roller coaster team, and they were so unhealthy last week that putting too much stock into that, I think, is not the best idea. But if you need something to be optimistic about, if that will make you feel better about the Vikings, if that will make any of our listeners feel better about the Vikings, and be a little bit more optimistic moving forward, I'm definitely okay with you running with that point, because, as I said before, that is definitely real.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into our weekly picks this week, because I want to be cocky about the record. I have a 10-game lead on you. I am 65-41 for the season through 7 weeks, and you are 55-51. So I'm just gonna throw it out there, let people know that I am embarrassing you so far.
And my record isn't actually even that bad. Now, after last week, I went 11-4 last week. You went 10-5, by the way, which is less than what I did last week. But we both did pretty well last week, and now my record, which was 44-47 coming in, is actually looking pretty solid right now. So let's get into the picks for the week. As we just mentioned, Baltimore and Miami played tonight. I would have taken Baltimore in this game. For whatever reason, I wrote down... Oh, never mind. I wrote down Miami, so I guess I took Miami. So I'm already 0-1.
Nice. Nice.
Drew did take Baltimore, so Drew's off to a 1-0 start. Next game here is the Minnesota-Cleveland game. Obviously, I think that we've made it pretty clear what our feelings are on this game, but give me a scoring prediction anyways.
I'll go 27-6. Vikings win.
I'll take the Vikes absolutely in a blowout. I'll go 27-9. I'll give them one more field
for what
goal.
It's worth. I hate being this confident about a Vikings game, because
I think most people do.
But this is probably the most unbalanced head-to-head matchup for a Vikings game anyway that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. On to the next one here. Oakland at Buffalo. Actually a pretty solid game. It doesn't sound like it would be a good game on paper, but Matt Collar's Buffalo Bills have actually been pretty solid this year.
Yeah.
So who you got, Derek Carr
They're
or
sneaky
Buffalo?
4-2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the Bills at home. The Raiders are still kind of a bit of a wild card. They did beat Kansas City last week. They're still a bit of a wild card to me. I can't quite trust them. I'll take the home team here.
I'm going to take Oakland just because, running with the point that I made during last week's Friday Frenzy about Amari Cooper probably being back, Derek Carr looking a lot better, and Oakland being a pretty scary team when they're playing their best football. I think they can go on the road and beat Buffalo this week, so I'm taking Oakland. On to the next one here. We got Indianapolis at Cincinnati, a battle of horrible teams. One of the worst rosters in football in Indianapolis. And then
The worst.
Yeah, the worst. And then, of course, Andy Dalton's Cincinnati Bengals, who have played well in very, very, very small points this season.
I'll take the Colts because I don't know. I'm just gonna keep picking on these like winnable games, and then when it eventually does happen, I'm gonna look smart. So that's kind of why I'm picking the Colts, because they really are so bad. They've handled the Andrew Luck thing, well, his entire career. They've handled Andrew Luck's career so bad, and I feel so badly for Andrew Luck, because he's in my opinion, one of the top 10 quarterback talents ever to play football.
Probably not wrong about that.
He's just been so. His talent has not been able to reach near its potential, because he's been in Indianapolis with a horrible roster and a horrible offensive line, and it sucks for him. But anyway, and this point is, in this game, I'm taking the Colts for really no reason.
It sucks for Andrew Luck because, this is a guy that took an awful roster to the AFC Championship.
Yes.
Imagine what he could do with a competent general manager.
Imagine Andrew Luck on the Vikings right now.
Yeah, seriously, that's a Super Bowl team for sure. I'm taking Cincinnati for all the reasons that we basically just stated. Indianapolis is awful. Cincinnati is less awful, so I'm taking Cincinnati at home to win the game. On to the next one here. San Diego against the suddenly kind of rolling New England Patriots.
Yeah, we agree on the next 4 games here. Patriots at home against the Chargers. Wait, is that the Chargers? Mm-hmm. You got
I wrote San Diego.
Yeah, you got San Diego written in here. Wow, what is this, 2016? I'll take the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Patriots as well. I took the Los Angeles Chargers last week because I thought it was a winnable game. Turns out I was right. This, for the Chargers, is not a winnable game. In Foxborough, good luck, Phillip Rivers. On to the next one here. Kind of an interesting game. Because I do like what both of these teams are doing right now. Chicago at New Orleans.
Mitch Trubisky's going to have to throw more than 8 times in this game.
Yes, and I don't think he's going to.
That will be their undoing. So give me the Saints.
Saints have been playing better defense as of late. I think their defense is playing well enough that in combination with Drew Brees is the team that could make it to the postseason. And once Drew Brees gets into the postseason, he's a pretty dangerous quarterback. So I don't hate New Orleans right now. That's starting to look like a pretty good win to me. But Chicago also, playing very well defensively. But I think the key, and Drew just made this point, is just that Mitch Trubisky is not going to throw the ball that much, and I don't see them being able to win. If this gets into a remote shootout, like if this gets into the 20s, I don't see Chicago being able to contend. So I've got New Orleans. On to the next one here. New York Jets are playing at home against the Atlanta Falcons, who are sputtering. Steve Sarkisian, who I brought up in a very positive light, said quite a lot of very nice things about during our first Friday Frenzy, has been piss poor, awful. Maybe I jinxed him. And this New York Jets team is kind of real a little bit. Like, they're a lot better than
the Jets
we thought.
are not real.
I'm saying more real than we gave them credit for coming to this year. I thought this, coming into the season, I thought this was a potential 0-16 team.
See, this is the game that will change my mind on both of these teams. I'm still kind of not buying into the Jets being good or the Falcons being bad. But if the Jets win this game, that will flip kind of how I feel about both teams. So I'm still sticking with the Falcons here, but this could be an opinion changer for me.
Yeah, I'm taking Atlanta as well, but Atlanta better win this damn game. As I said before, I've said this on a couple of shows, but playing on the road against an AFC team, if you're an NFC team, is not that important of a game on paper. But for the psyche of the Atlanta Falcons, they need to win this damn football game. My God, they had just not been playing well at all. Steve Sarkisian needs some help. They just need to play better, and they need this win this week. And I do think they're capable of it. So I've got Atlanta. On to the next one here. San Francisco still 0 victories against Philadelphia. Will the shutout continue?
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles are the one team that's kind of separated itself, I guess, from the rest of the NFC. I think that team's playing really well. I do have some concerns about them offensively without Jason Peters, but they'll be okay, at least for this week, against the Niners at home.
Yeah. Philadelphia, like Drew said, they're the one NFC team that has really been consistently good this season, both offensively and defensively. Carson Wentz playing at a very high level, a lot higher than I gave him credit for, even when he was a prospect. So good on Carson Wentz. Great on this defense, man. A very talented team against a team that in San Francisco that I think will eventually get there, but they're 1 or 2 years away. I just hope they don't can Kyle Shanahan before they allow him to work his magic, because they are doing some good things this year. And they've gotten into a couple of football games that they could have potentially won. That just hasn't happened for them yet. But I just can't see a way that Philadelphia loses this game. So next one here, Cameron Newton against Tampa Bay. Obviously, you probably saw this week that Cam Newton left his press conference early. The media is not happy with him. He has been kind of, not doing a good job with, his social figure has taken quite a big hit this year. But he's also played some of his best football of his career this year at times. Last week was not one of those times.
See, he's on my fantasy team, and I've very much dealt with the first couple games were just really, really bad. Then he had like 3 really good games, and now he's back to the, I don't know. Give me the Bucks. Just, I don't know. I don't know. The Bucks.
I'm taking Carolina because, I don't know. Just give me.
I don't need to give it. I don't need to give a reason right now. I'm up at 10 games on you.
Houston at Seattle should be a fun defensive game, I guess. But with J.J. Watt and Whitney Merciless out, not nearly as great of a defensive game as this could potentially be. Who you got in this game?
I got Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle. The Bill Belichick reference. Seattle.
I'm taking Seattle as well. I think that Deshaun Watson is one hell of a football player, but good luck against this defense. So basically, my opinion of Seattle is if they can block, this is the top team in the NFC. So I don't see it for Houston this week. On to the next one here, Dallas at Washington.
I really don't want the Cowboys to win this game because of the attention they're getting right now for being a 3-3 team. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to pick them because I think they are going to win this game, and I'm not buying the Redskins. So give me the Cowboys, but I don't want them to win.
I'm going to take Washington just because I think the Cowboys are awful. Honestly, like I don't. They're just
Please
not.
Elaborate.
I think Dak Prescott's a good quarterback. I think that Ezekiel Elliott is a great running back. I think that Dez Bryant was a great receiver. I think this defense is pretty much awful for the most part. The offensive line is good, but it's definitely not as great as it had been as early as last year. I just don't see it with this Dallas team. I know they were 12-4 last year. That's not this year. They don't look like the same team last year as they were last year. And Ezekiel Elliott, I can't remember who it was that said this, but I think he's buying into himself too much and, maybe not working as hard as he used to. It was a former player that called him out earlier this week. I can't remember who it was, but I buy into that theory. So I just don't think that this Dallas team is all that good, and I don't think the Redskins are all that great either. But I do like their potential defensively, and I like Kirk Cousins more than most people. So I see this being a Washington game. Moving on to the next one here, Pittsburgh, my Super Bowl pick, against Drew. Who you got? This is interesting because it's Matthew Stafford against Ben Roethlisberger. These are two teams that have been pretty inconsistent over the last couple of years here. Roethlisberger's starting to roll a little bit. Juju Smith-Schuster might be the funniest player in the entire NFL. On a great, an elite potential offense. I think this is a game that Detroit. This game is a turning point. This is a fork in the road right here. There
will be a lot of points scored in this game.
Yep.
It's indoors. The weather shouldn't be a factor. You have two of the biggest, arms, I guess, in the game. I'm going to pick the Lions in this game. I do think the Lions secondary is a bit better than Pittsburgh's. I think that'll kind of give them the edge. I think they have a couple playmakers back there, Glover Quinn, Darius Slay, that will be enough to hold off the Steelers here. I think Detroit wins this one in a close, kind of a memorable finish, I guess.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh strictly because I think that Pittsburgh is arguably the best team in the AFC. I think that Ben Roethlisberger, if he gets, himself over the hump, he gets away from the guy that like seems like he wants to quit football. If he's able to push that away for just the rest of this season, then walk right away out into the sunlight, a la Jared Allen, the sunset, I guess. But if he does that, this Steelers team is scary. So I expect that guy to show up this week against Detroit. So I'm going to take the Steelers. And then finally, we'll finish up here with the Monday night game, Kansas City at Denver. If there is, this might be the best AFC rivalry in football right now, strictly because these are two of the more competent teams. They play in the same division. Alex Smith is playing his best football ever. Denver's defense is still dynamite. Who you got in this game?
I am completely buying into the Chiefs 5-0 collapse to 8-8. So I'm picking Denver this week. I'm totally buying into that. I don't really have anything rational behind it other than that there's been a team the last 2 years to do it. So there has to be one this year. The Chiefs fit the bill. Give me the Broncos in this game.
I'm going to take Kansas City just because we talked about this a lot last week. I still really like Kansas City as a team. I think Andy Reid is the type of coach that can turn this thing around. Very important game. This might be, Week 8 might kind of be a fork in the road week, just in general, because I feel like I keep looking at these matchups and I keep seeing, you talked about with the Jets and the Atlanta Falcons earlier when we were doing our picks. We just talked about it, with Pittsburgh and Detroit. Dallas and Washington is probably another place where that's a 3-3 team in Dallas that if they go to 3-4, maybe the national media will get off their jack a little bit. But I think that Kansas City is, a good enough team to win this game, and I think that they will. So that rounds out our picks for the week. As always, thanks for listening to the show. Always appreciate that. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Vikings Territory. Make sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube. About the Labor pregame show will be at 8 a.m. We'll run for about 20 to 25 minutes right up to kickoff this Sunday. Hope to see you guys there, but at the same time, I understand if you feel like sleeping in instead. So thanks again for listening. Hope to see you on Sunday, and we will catch you guys later on this week.